Welcome to our renovation loan little seminar, little workshop. And we today are going to cure you of your dream home syndrome. We're going to get you unstuck and you're going to love it. So I'm glad you could make it today, you guys. I have a wonderful special guest and I can't wait. I'm going to introduce him in just a second. If you're new to my channel, I'm Joie Ashworth. I am a realtor licensed in Maryland, DC, and Virginia. I am a mentor. I love tech, and I love cool things like renovation loans to help solve problems that people keep bumping into when they're trying to buy a home. So hopefully this will unlock a new level for you to consider when you're looking for a home. Today, my special guest is Jeff Stempler, and he has a wonderful team. They are both professional and hilarious, which is kind of hard to do. So I'm going to let him introduce himself. Jeff, take it away. Welcome.
It's a pleasure being with you. Thank you so much. And just a little bit about me. I've been in the mortgage business for over 20 years. I think that's been 20 years and maybe almost 3 months. And the reason I say that, I love my job. I love what I do. And I talk a little bit my family. I'm an empty nester as of a couple of weeks ago. So it's a big change for me. All 3 kids in college. So fun times, and I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me. And I really look forward to educating everybody on renovation loans and why it's such a cool thing, and maybe talk a little bit about the market.
Excellent. Yeah. Just a little trivia. Both Jeff and I have twins, but mine are still here harassing me on the daily. So
Comes quickly. It'll be out of the house before you know it.
right. All right. Well, let's jump into renovation loans. I'm going to let you take it away. And then you guys listen, if you like this stuff, if this is, interesting to you, don't forget to like, subscribe, tell us how you feel, ask your questions in the comments, because we're going to have a little Q&A session afterwards. And if you stick around, we have a free guide that you can pick up that will give you everything you need to know about renovation loans. You don't even have to take notes today. So we've done all that work for you, and you might as well grab that free guide. So without further ado, I'm going to let Jeff take it away on this little quick presentation. And here you go. All right, you got it.
Awesome. So guys, we're gonna keep this simple, and these loans are actually pretty simple. A lot of myths out there, and we'll get to the myths in a little bit. So keep an open mind. You really need to have to determine, hey, I'm buying in a neighborhood. I want to live in this neighborhood. There's 2 or 3 homes that are available. I walked through them. I don't really. They don't meet my needs. Keep an open mind. That's what this is for. This will get you into that neighborhood, and you can build equity really quickly. So picture shows here: renovation loans turn ugly homes into dream homes. Hey, you might find a home not ugly, but you just want it to meet your needs, and that's what we're going to go over. Next slide, if you can, or do I do that? You got that? Okay. Let me see. That's blocked there. Give me a sec. Okay, what do you want to know about renovation loans? We're going to go over why buy with a reno loan, understanding the basics, the myths. There's a lot of myths about renovation loans, and at the end we'll go over some question and answers. So shortage of homes, guys. This really hits home with a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there now who are looking, but just can't find the home they want. There's a lot of people out there that we've pre-approved already, and they've stopped looking because of the shortage of homes. Recently, there's a little bit more inventory in the last week. That's good news, but it's still we still have a shortage of homes. So get into that, like why we already touched a little bit above that. we're in a neighborhood. We can't find the home that we want. There's a shortage of homes. Usually you have a better choice of picking, but you're not able to find it. Number two, you want to live in a certain area. Again, we touch base on that. You might be like a school district. It might be like my kid has to go in the school district, and I see some homes on the market, but it's just not what I want. What do we do, Joie? And then Joie is going to say, hey, have you ever heard of a renovation loan? Because this is a perfect loan for you with an open mind. I've been doing these for 20 years, and it's incredible what people don't know. And once they do know, a change of mind. Let's see here. I can't read all that with my bad eyes. Existing housing needs updating. Many sellers do not have the financial ability to update their home prior to closing. So there might be a house. They might have the money when they sell the home, but they don't have the money before they sell the home. So the house is not in great condition. Great. Another reason why to buy a renovation home. Now you can make the home exactly the way that you want it to be. You don't have funds to renovate separately. So let's see here. So, but desire update kitchens, bathrooms, etc. So you don't need the funds. You don't have to have the money to do all the renovations, because all the costs of the renovation are incorporated in your 30-year fixed loan. And we're going to go into it a little bit, but I'll touch base upon that now. Is we want to make sure that not only are you approved on the loan, but you're comfortable with the financing, the cash into the transaction, and the monthly payment. And we'll go into that in a little bit. Yeah. So some basics of renovation loans. You can purchase a home and complete the desired repairs, upgrades. It's one simple loan. It's one 30-year fixed loan. It's the purchase price plus the renovation cost minus your down payment. And the seller will get paid at settlement. Seller gets their money at closing. So go a little bit more into detail. Give you an example. We see a house on the market. Don't love it, but we know that we can fix it up and make it exactly the way that we want it. So you take the purchase price. Let's say your estimated renovation costs are $100,000, $400,000 purchase price, $100,000 renovation. Just add those two together. This is why it's simple. And your down payment is based off the combined acquisition cost, or those two together. So with like example, conventional loan requires a minimum at 3% down. An FHA loan renovation, 3.5%. That's the minimum, but we can put more down, and we would contact you and ask you, what is your cash into the transaction? What are you comfortable putting into the transaction for down payment and or closing costs? And what is your comfort level for a mortgage payment? And I wanted to see, Joao, feel free to break in any questions so far as we roll through the screens.
No questions so far. We're going to have lots of questions at the end, though, because
Awesome.
This is, I know it's a new concept for a lot of people, but I know of at least 2 houses that I've seen in the last couple of days that would really benefit from what you just talked about. Don't love the kitchen, don't love the bathrooms, love the location. And the wife says, absolutely not. I can't see myself living in a house with this kind of kitchen. And the husband's like, but the house has gray bones, but she just can't see it. So this is one of those things where if we can get these numbers that you're talking about to work, that's a house that now everyone can consider and move in and be happy. And you got one loan, one payment at the end of the day. I love it.
And a house that you love at the end of the day too. And that's what we got to have, an open mind, right? You got to see the end picture. I'm not good at that. Obviously, I'm not an artistic person. So that's one of the problems with this is it's visualizing what your home's going to look like when it's all done, and you can make it exactly the way that you want it. So very cool.
Yep, exactly. And, I think the statistic is, we talk about this a lot when we're talking about staging homes. Only 11% of the population can actually see an ugly house for what it could be. Like they
that's
can't
a good
look.
statistic.
Most people can't look past the ugly kitchen and bathrooms, and so that's the challenge. It's my job to try to help them envision, okay, this could be opened up and this could be a more modern kitchen
Yeah,
with just, let's talk about how much that would cost. And if we can work those costs in, then this could be a great home for you guys.
that's very true. I love that statistic. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. You ready for the next slide?
Let's go.
Da-da-da.
Ta-da. Let's play. Fact or
Let's
fiction?
let's play.
Yeah, let's have fun with this.
All
All
right.
right, next slide. Renovation loans are only for houses in really bad shape. Fact or fiction? Fiction. The answer is going to be fiction. So next slide. I'm going to go to my. It's a little small for me.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
You want to read it? It's small for me too.
I got it. I have it right.
What does that say about us? No, it says while they can be used.
Yeah,
while they can be used
glasses.
for poor or distressed properties, many buyers use them to update and modernize the home for their family's personal enjoyment. So that's basically what I was just talking about. Cosmetic, basically, if we just need it to be prettier and more modern with like updates instead of necessarily upgrades or moving walls or doing anything crazy, this is a great thing for people, and they just really don't understand how this works, or they think it's a big deal.
Yeah, it could be a house that's a beautiful house, and you just want to add a room, right? So you just want to add an addition. Maybe your mother-in-law is moving into the home, and you just need to add an addition, and the house is in great shape. So it's not just for distressed properties; it's just making the home exactly the way that you want it. All right, don't look at the walls, look at the space. That's what we've been talking about through this whole presentation. Can you visualize? We don't have pictures of what the house is going to look like yet, but if you get with a contractor, they can help you with that, and maybe even send some type of pictures or something to give you the end product. Because obviously in this picture, you're not going to think too much of the home, but the end result is really what you want to visualize.
It's really hard for my buyers, honestly. For most of my buyers, it's really hard for them to even walk into a space like what we're looking at right now.
Sure. Yeah.
So in some cases I have to say, just trust me, hold my hand, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
But if they can, I actually do have people like contractors who have visualization software. And I've worked with those people on kitchens and closets, and they can virtually show you what this space is going to look like when they're done. And I promise you, it will be beautiful, and you'll see no remnants of any of this horribleness.
Yeah. What happens if you're approved for 700,000, but this house that we were just looking at was 500,000, right? And your renovation costs are 125,000. So it's a total of 625, and then minus your down payment. So just think of that. That also helps too, to make you feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, and in a lot of cases, I've seen those distressed properties, Jeff. They pop up, nobody wants them. They sit there for so long that the price plus the renovation cost equals something still less than the value after those renovations. Like a lot less. So people, it's like hitting the home buying lottery.
Yeah, and I like to call it it's like, if you know anything about flipping to our audience, it's like you're flipping your house, but you're not flipping it. You're buying the house, you're upgrading it, but you're not selling it yet. You're just going to hold on to it. You've built the equity, and over time you'll build more equity. So it's like a double win. So really cool stuff.
Yep.
All right, fact or fiction? This will be a giant pain in the you know what. You're making sure I didn't say it the wrong word. I know.
I was manually censoring you. Yeah. So let's see if that's fact or fiction.
Definitely fiction. So if you work with an experienced realtor like Joie and a lender like myself, they are not. We have, at our company, we have an in-house concierge service. That's a really important thing with the renovation loan, and ensures the entire process goes smoothly. And what I mean by the concierge service, so when you buy a renovation home, communication is key. So you buy the home. I'll go into a little bit later how it works with the contractor, but after you settle, there's going to be payments to the contractor, and you have to have a pretty good team that communicates and gets the draw schedules out, and makes sure that goes smoothly. And the buyer doesn't have to worry about the draw schedule, but it's a big part of the process. And our concierge service is constantly in touch with the clients, as well as I am, as we move through the process before the work begins and after the work begins. So not nearly as bad as what you think it would be.
In other words, you're going to take good care of them and not let them make foolish decisions.
Yeah, and then people in their heads, there's a whole bunch of things we could think of why it would be so stressful. But if you have your ducks in a row, it's not. And feel free to chat away, ask questions. I'd love answering them. What your concerns are, and we'll try to answer some of those at the end of the show here.
So, one quick thing I'll mention before you move on to this next fact or fiction. I want to reset the room because some people jump in late. Joie Ashworth, Jeff Stempler. Jeff's information is running across the bottom of the screen like a ticker. And Jeff is my expert lender. We're talking about renovation purchase loans. I'm sure lots of different names for this, right? I've heard purchase rehab loans. What are some other names?
Yeah, some people call it construction loans, but sometimes they get mixed up with construction, like where it's being built by a builder, and then they purchase after it's being. They get the construction loan while it's being built and settle after. That's a little different, but there are a lot of different names for it.
Yeah, and so I think that's kind of where people get some of these timeline myths from, because you think construction loans like, oh, that's 6 months, 12 months before we're not building a brand new house.
Exactly. So, yes.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. And next fact or fiction.
It will take forever to get to settlements. Fact or fiction? Fiction. So unlike a construction loan, these can take as little as 30 days. Wow. Is that possible? Yes, it is. And I'll tell you how it's done in 30 days. It normally isn't. I'd say the average time is 45 days, but between 30 and 60. So if we have our ducks in a row, we go out and get a contractor, right? We have one that's familiar with renovation loans. They're going to have to be a 2-year licensed contractor that's willing to get paid withdrawals as the work is being done, versus a really small contractor who wants to get paid at settlement when we buy the house and then the work's being done. That's not how it's done, because we need to pay them as the work is completed. So that's important. So if you have that contractor, they go out to the house, they get you your renovation costs. We know exactly what the loan amount's going to be, the sales price, everything. You make the offer. We have pretty much what we need. There's a couple other variables. What's called a consultant goes out to the house. But besides that, we can close in 30 days, no problem. We've already reviewed your income, assets, credit. Everybody's happy. We got the contractor, closed in 30 days. What typically happens is we're looking for homes and we see one that we love. We're in a low inventory environment, so these homes are going pretty quickly. So we have to move fast. May not have time to go out and get a contractor before we make an offer. So we estimate, okay? So I always recommend, okay, we think there's going to be $150,000 renovation costs just in our mind. Well, maybe we estimate 200 or 175, because that's what we're going to qualify on without having the contractor's estimate. And if you're still comfortable at that level and it goes down to the renovation costs are 150, fantastic. Well, if it ends up being 175, 200, and you're still comfortable, great. If you're not, well, we just have to be really concerned there that the renovation cost is over your comfort level. That may not work out. So we're going to probably schedule a 45-day close. If we know that you're going to go out and be diligent about finding a contractor, getting the contractor out there on a timely basis to get us the bid so we can get the financing done. And that's really a thing that can speed up or slow down the process, is getting that contractor's bid, getting them out to the house and getting that bid so we can qualify you as a buyer. Any questions on that, Joelle, or anything that's coming to mind that I might have missed out, because I could miss out on something as we go through that process?
Just one of the questions that came up as I was discussing this with people, they really wanted to ask, can I choose my own licensed contractors, or is that something that you have to choose?
They definitely can use their contractor. So yeah, it's got to be licensed for 2 years. Easy answer. Yes, you can definitely. We as a lender can recommend a contractor. We don't want to, because we could have a great contractor for you. Their personality doesn't meet your personality. Their costs don't meet your costs, whatever it being. So we actually want you to use your own contractor. We do know that you have to go out there and maybe find one. You might not have one. And we would definitely recommend somebody to you, but we prefer that you go out and get your own contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. So I think that's all the questions on that. So we can move on.
Okay. A little humor here. Like, maybe, for most people, this would be a bad remodeling idea. So maybe don't put it that on your list for the contractor to give you an estimate for.
No, his and hers toilet.
Yeah, no, everybody has different things that they like and what they don't like. So up to you.
Raising twins, there were times that I was just like, I wish there were one more toilet. You never get any privacy as a twin mom. So that is
people
don't do this. I can't sell that house. Like, please don't do that. Always be thinking about resale.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's why you're a great agent. I just lend money. You always think about those things.
Oh, I mean, it's a big, you turn people loose with a lot of renovation money. They might do stuff that might be ill-advised if they call me in 15 years and they say, Joie, I need you to sell my house.
Yeah.
Like, well, I wish we had talked more about doing the 2 toilets in the bathroom.
I remember this. I don't know why, but back in the day, I guess they were the Washington Redskins. The whole basement of this house we were doing a broker's open, was all Redskins. And I'm thinking, well, God, what happens, if they're a Falcons fan, right? So they might turn them off. So you got to be, play it neutral. Maybe just paint it white, right?
It has happened. I have sold those homes.
Yeah. You have millions of those stories, I'm sure. Yeah. Fact or fiction? Fact or fiction. Renovation loans are too expensive. A lot of fiction here. We ensure you are comfortable with your monthly payment cash out. Mentioned that a little earlier. Very important to you, like cash out of pocket payment. Are you comfortable with it? Is this expense or an investment? You're building equity? So we spoke a little bit about that. It's like you're investing in this home. You're increasing the value. And then it's like a flip before you flip. You're actually increasing the value, and then and the home is going to go up in value in addition to that. So that expense. There are costs to renovation loans, but you're building the value. And again, so what we look at is your cash into the transaction, and it's not additional cash. It's it's the purchase price plus your renovation costs. Everything's included in there. The contractor's bid and the renovation costs. You just lump that together. That's the total amount, and your down payment is based off of that. And if you meet the cash into the transaction, comfort level, and the payment, you're good to go.
Okay. Guys, remember to throw your questions in the chat if something comes up for you want answered. Let us know, and we'll get that answered live. You talked about down payment. Did you touch on how much? I think you did briefly. How much down payment?
I'll go over it real quickly because maybe some more people are on. So there's different loan programs. You can do. Everybody knows the renovation loans as 2 or 3K. I always joke around because I've done a lot of seminars on this, and I asked a room full of real estate agents, what is a renovation loan called? And they call it a 2 or 3K. Well, a lot of lenders don't do the conventional renovation loans. That's called a home style. The 2 or 3K is just an FHA loan. So these are very standard loans, even with the renovation costs added to the purchase price. Otherwise, they're pretty much the same as what's called a conventional, if you've heard of that, 30-year fixed loan, which is Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or an FHA 203K, which is the FHA. So FHA is minimum down payment is required. is 3.5% of the purchase price plus the renovation costs. The conventional, the minimum, it would be 3% down, but obviously you can put more. So, and while we're touching on that, the rent, gosh, I think that's going to come up later, but I'm going to answer it now. Is that there's no maximum renovation costs, but there is a maximum renovation loan. The limit is $1,089,300. So that's the maximum loan you can go. You can go above that, but your down payment, your purchase price plus your renovation cost minus your down payment is capped at $1,089,300 is the loan amount. Okay.
Excellent.
Yes.
So
and you have another question there. It looks like so.
Yes.
So what's my down payment? And can you use gift money? Yes, you can use gift money. We just have to document it where like a bank statement from your mom or your grandmother and where it came from. So we just have to source where the gift money. You can use that for down payment and or closing costs.
And a quick thing about gift money, please talk to Jeff, before you start moving money around as gift, always call the lender before you start making financial decisions, because you don't want to find out later that you've made the wrong one. And now you're, set back from being able to purchase a home, especially when you've already identified a great opportunity and it's about to fly out the door because you have to wait a couple months for money to be seasoned in your account or something like that. Just, stop what you're doing and call Jeff and his team. The information is scrolling below. Make sure you screenshot, do whatever you got to do to keep his information, because I've seen this happen so many times where buyers are just like, oh, well, you didn't hear from me because I was doing this and paying off that and moving this around. And I'm like, why didn't you call? Okay. But they've already made those decisions and it's kind of too late. And now we have to just sort of deal with it and maybe fix it. So just don't overthink it. Just call Jeff.
Yep.
That'll be a hashtag. Just call Jeff.
All right. All right, so your questions.
Yep.
Okay, so we're at the end of the slide here. So cool. That was, I think, pretty simple. I think renovation loans are simple. There's pieces that we didn't go over because for time purposes and details for qualification and stuff. But some of it we're going to be answering in these questions coming up, I think.
Yep. So we got a couple of questions. I think some of them we briefly touched on. This one I think is a good one. In the investor speak, we say ARV, as is versus ARV. So can you explain that a little bit more?
Okay. So with our renovation loan, we're going to be looking at the purchase price. That's the as is. So an appraiser is you're going to go under contract. Appraiser is going to go out to the property. They're going to find out what the as is value is and look at comparables. What other homes have settled in that area that are like that property? But then they're going to take a look at the contractor's bid and they're going to add that value to their appraisal. So that's the after improved value. And that's what we're going to use for financing. So really important piece of the puzzle that you're not getting an appraisal in the as is value. It's the after improved value. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Is that clear?
Yep. And just so we're also clear on what are we looking at for after improvements, mostly we're looking at comparable homes. What is sold recently that's beautiful, that has that new kitchen that you're about to put in with this renovation loan, that can give us a really good indication of the after repair value or after improvement value. But it's ultimately up to the appraiser to decide, that kitchen makes this house worth, that much more. So you need experts around you in order to figure out, if I purchase here and I do this much in renovations, will I over improve? And we don't want you doing that. So we're going to be very careful getting you there. All right. So
good point.
Yep. We touched on this also. I think that's a huge myth that still perpetuates that, you need to do a construction loan because the house is in terrible condition. In fact, I have a showing later on today. The listing agent called me and I said, my client's considering doing a renovation loan. And he was like, well, this home doesn't need a renovation loan. And he was like, it just needs wallpaper and paint and maybe some new flooring here and there. Like it just needs updates. It's ugly. And I was like, exactly. So, so when we're talking about a renovation loan, a lot of times we may be talking about removing wallpaper and paint, right? Like we can do cosmetic in there.
Of course. Yeah. That's simple. Just part of the contractor's bid. So
Yep.
that's probably going to be done. I mean, that you need to get that done. That's going to be a big piece of the puzzle to make the house look nice, as well as maybe adding like an addition. But you could, yeah. So I'll bring up something else. There's something called a recast loan. So you wouldn't even need a renovation loan for like a really small repairs that can be done after settlement, like a renovation loan. But that's like, $10,000-$15,000 max. Else you're going to go into probably if you go up to like a 25, 35 or above, you're going to go into a renovation loan.
Yeah, I'm thinking like cosmetic, but $20,000-$30,000. The house just like if it's a big house and it needs a lot of painting, a lot of wallpaper removal. Yeah. I've seen houses that they must have been a wallpaper sale, and we just need to get rid of it. And people are really having a hard time envisioning the home, so it's just not selling. And buyers, a lot of times their only option is to consider some type of a renovation loan. And they really don't want to buy the house and then get a construction loan or a home equity loan and then have this payment over here and then their purchase money payment over there. And it's like juggling all these payments. I'd rather just have it done before I move in, one payment.
Yep. 130-year fixed loan. Yep.
How about this one?
Yes. Yep. So we do those all the time. You can do a renovation refinance loan. You got a house. Maybe you don't want to move. Maybe maybe you don't want to hear this, but you want to stay in the home. Like you want to renovate the home and stay in the home versus going out and moving and find a home that you like. You want to make the house larger. So instead of going out and finding that house, you can refinance. It's we get the appraised value, we get the renovation costs, we add it to your loan, 130-year fixed loan. Same type of guidelines on what we call FHA loans and conventional loans.
Yep. And I've had this conversation with another client recently. So, my clients just want options. They're real people with real needs. I don't necessarily need to sell you a new house, but if you can stay put, at least let's look at those numbers and see if it works out. And then do you get what you want? If so, great. You get to stay put. So I like options. People like options.
Yep. Yeah.
This one.
Great one. So maximum closing costs the seller can contribute. That's going to be depending on the loan program, but we'll stick with our FHA 203K. They're going to be able to pay 6% of the sales price, and that's going to be a nice amount. And the seller, if they contribute to that, they can definitely contribute up to 6%. On the conventional, depending on your down payment, the down payment you can get either 3%, 6%, or 9% on a conventional loan, depending on the down payment that you made. Most of the time it's 3%, and that's what you'll hear. But if you have a substantial 25% down payment, you can get 9% closing cost help. So if the seller is willing to pay for it. So those are the maximum closing costs, and that's
we like to hear that. And in a lot of cases, if that house is just not selling because it's so ugly,
sure,
you might be able to find a seller that's willing to pay that much in closing help just to get it sold. So this is not even in a seller's market like we're in today. There are some homes that are sitting there because they're either just, maybe they've got a weird configuration, in which case probably a renovation loan is the only way that house gets sold. So
yep.
How about this one?
Do you have an investor program? So we do you can do a renovation investor program. So it's same thing. You can't do what's called the FHA 203K because that's only for primary residences. So you can do 15% down, investor. Market rate's going to be a little higher than a primary. But what you want to look at is, the equity that you're building, on also what the payment and what you're going to get, and what's the market rent, and is that going to make it work for you by doing it? So yeah, that's a really cool program. Same thing, just a little bit more down payment needed. Is, I guess, the easy way to explain it on a standard conventional Fannie or Freddie Mac 30-year fixed loan.
Very good. Some maybe beginner investors might be interested in doing something like that. Because a lot of the seasoned investors either have cash or they're using hard money.
Yeah.
But this might be an option. I always say just call Jeff and, look at the numbers.
Yep.
This is kind of a throwback to something we were talking about when we were discussing contractors before, but like, when do we go out and talk to contractors?
Yep.
And also, my company, Weichert, is doing a vendor event coming up. So it might be a good opportunity if you want to reach out to me, go to the vendor event, and you can meet licensed contractors, kind of interview them, talk to them face to face, and say, can you do, I really desire this new kitchen. I haven't even found the house yet, but I know I'm going to want this new kitchen. Maybe that'll be a good way for you to talk to people. But when do I need to have a contractor identified?
All right. Well, you could go today. So let's say that it's a low inventory environment. That maybe houses you're going to look at, that they may need some work, and so maybe the house has been on the market for a little while. You want to go out and you can go out and get the contract now. You'll be ahead of the game. But as I said before, that doesn't usually happen. Like, who wants to go out and interview a contractor and stuff like that? You have to know that you're going to want to do a renovation, and that would give you the desire maybe to go out and look for the contractor now. But what normally happens is you put an offer on a house without the contractor's bid, and then we have to estimate what that renovation work is going to cost. And we kind of want to overestimate for your financing purposes, because that's what we're going to qualify you on. Then you go under contract. You're going to go out and then we're going to say, good, interview that contractor, those contractors right away. For timing purposes, we're settling in 45 days. We just want to get that contractor out to the property, give you the bid, so we can actually get that and use that for financing. And that's the only thing that slows the settlement down is getting the contractor and the contractor's bid. So that is the main thing. So if we can get that quickly, we'll help out.
Excellent. Last question. I know there's some people that have young ones that they really don't want to come back to their house. So if I have a recent grad, or he's soon to be graduating, how long does he need to be on the job before he can get a renovation loan or any loan?
So if recent grad transcripts, so we don't need that 2-year history, pay stub, salary bar, and we'll be able to use that income to qualify. There's other factors like everybody else, credit, other things too that we have to qualify you on. But you can, I guess that's like a myth. Maybe I'm a recent grad. I haven't had the hold on a second. Sorry about that. So yeah, so it's maybe a myth that you have to be on a job for 2 years before you can get a job. No, you can we can qualify you right away. Even if you, let's say your job starts October 1st, September 6th, we go under contract mid-September. As long as we can get a pay stub, we're good to go.
Very nice. I mean, we know young people have more energy than maybe I do at this point. And I always say, if I had it to do over, I would buy the ugliest house I could find, and then maybe just put sweat equity into it. I'd do the kitchen on weekends, learn how to do flooring. Young people these days have YouTube that tell you how to do absolutely everything to a house. And, you've got the option of just building sweat equity, but you also have renovation loan as an option to go in and maybe do some of the heavy lifting, and then you paint, every weekend. But when you get older, like I am, and you've got kids, you really don't want to live through the dust. You just kind of want to move into a house that's already improved. So options, right? But I know you guys, we promised that we would give you this wonderful bonus. Thank you so much for checking us out and listening to our renovation loan conversation. If you would like our free guide, you can go ahead and screenshot. You can scan a QR code by screenshot this QR code, and then from your photos, tap on it later. It'll take you to the guide. Or you can just go to bit.ly/reno2023. Don't forget, you can reach out to Jeff. What's your favorite way for people to contact you? Just call you, email?
I would say email.
Okay.
Yeah, email probably the easiest, but either one's fine.
Okay, so shoot Jeff an email. And he does check his spam, so you won't get lost in there. If you would like to schedule some time with me, there's my Zoom link, my Calendly link. You can schedule time on my calendar, bit.ly/Joelle the Realtor. And again, I want to thank you so much for joining us, Jeff. You're always a wealth of information. I really enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun. We should do it again. I can talk money and mortgages with you all day long.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys.